Look at the wonderfulness of that. Do you know what that is? That, my friends, is New Orleans Square and the bountiful waters of the rivers of America. It's time for a little boat ride, and it's also time for the Sometime Vlog. It's a vlog that sometimes happens on steamboats. Do you know what today is? I'll tell you what today is, friends. Today is the 179th birthday of none other than my personal favorite author and hero, Samuel Langhorne Clemens, better known to you as Mark Twain. So what better place, since I cannot visit Florida, Missouri again today, where Mark Twain was born, nor can I pop over to Hannibal, Missouri, where he was raised and reared and sired, nor any of the other various East Coast locations where Mark Twain lived. So what better place, ooh, I'm kind of squeaky there, what better place for me to visit on Mark Twain's birthday than the Mark Twain Riverboat? It's sort of an otherwise rainy and gloomy day here in Anaheim and at Disneyland. Look at that. Some people were just splashing down a mountain. So the top deck of the Mark Twain is actually closed off to us. But luckily, the lower decks are still available and we can still cruise around with the glory of Twain. Mark Twain, born November 30th, 1835. Fantastic. Let's take a look out this way. Ah. Tom Sawyer's Island. A little more Mark Twaininess over here. Walt Disney was a huge fan of Mark Twain, both because they grew up kind of in the same region of the country, although Walt Disney didn't grow up on the river. And also because Walt Disney loved the fantastic boy's story of Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, which is the great American novel. Mark Twain, born 1835 in Florida, Missouri, not in Hannibal, Missouri. He was born in the almost invisible village of Florida, Missouri. As he put it, he increased the population by 1%, which was more than anyone ever did for their town. Even Shakespeare didn't do it. He said he could have done as much for any place, even London, he supposed. Look at that, there's the Hungry Bear restaurant, all lit up and wonderful. Mark Twain Riverboat. So happy birthday, Mark Twain, and salute to all my fellow Twainiacs out there. You know, Mark Twain was kind of a big failure for a long time. He was mildly successful at many things, but ultimately failed at many, many careers. And a lot of people don't know, he didn't actually write his first book. Well, it wasn't published until he was 34 years old. At age 32, he took a trip on another steamboat, different kind of steamboat, a steamer, around Europe and the Holy Land, which became the book The Innocents Abroad, published just a few years later, 1869, and launched him into stardom and celebrity that would lead to him becoming the great American sage, our primo author, Mark Twain. It was about that time this young, scruffy ruffian from the borderlands, as it were, back then, from the Wild West, as Missouri was then a part of it. Plus he had lived in San Francisco and literally the Wild West for a while. Met a beautiful, very much younger girl named Olivia Langdon, and it took a long time to convince her very proper family that he was a good match for her, particularly since he didn't have much income to speak of at the time. He eventually married her. I think the same year or the year after The Innocents Abroad was published, and Mark Twain began to earn a sizable income and become, you know, pretty much rich. Then he was later poor again, with some financial mismanagement. Guy couldn't get luck no-how, as Huck Finn would say. Anyway, Mark Twain Riverboat, look at this. It's very, very difficult to see the scenery alongside the rivers of America, so maybe this wasn't the best time to, you know, show off the beauty and wonders of the riverboat itself. But that's okay. It's still Mark Twain's birthday. Look at this. Here we are in the salon. Mark Twain. Look at this. You can see all kinds of, it's clever. it's forever. Mark Twain was a Mississippi riverboat pilot, so this boat is very appropriately named for him. For many, many years, just prior to the Civil War, he piloted riverboats on the Mississippi River very, very successfully. But then Civil War came along and he absconded out to the west. His brother had done some campaigning for Abraham Lincoln in Missouri, which was sort of split 50-50 between Confederate and Union sympathizers. And as a reward, his brother was sent off to be the Secretary of the Territory of Nevada. And Mark Twain went off, his excuse being that he could be the secretary to the secretary, which paid exactly $0. Became a, let's face it, pretty unsuccessful civil miner. Then a newspaper journalist, a moderate amount of success. Then he hosted a series of lectures. Became kind of a rock star with the whole lecture thing, but not much money or stable income to speak of. Kind of the equivalent of being a rock and roll musician or something today. And then finally, because of that and the mild amount of fame and success he had there, he was able to, like I said, go on that tour, Quaker City excursion around Europe and the Holy Land, wrote it down in the newspapers, collated that into a book. That book, The Innocents Abroad, became a huge, massive hit. And Mark Twain's career was born. Then Roughing It followed up. That was the next book. It contained the history of his adventures out west, and then dabbled in fiction with the Gilded Age, which is not very good, I'm going to be honest with you. And then on, Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, all kinds of great adventures. Lots of travel writing though. People don't really know a lot about Mark Twain's travel writing when all you've read is Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn in high school, which are both fantastic novels. He wrote a lot of sort of creative non-fiction books, and that's why he's known as being the funniest man to ever hail from America. He really was quite a funny guy. Personally, in his personal life, he was pretty depressed and kind of ornery and cranky, a little misanthropic, but in his career, very, very funny, witty, man, a lot of personal tragedy. Mark Twain is sort of my spirit animal, if you will. Look at this, look at that rock. You see it? We are now alongside the abandoned tracks of what once was Mine Train to Nature's Wonderland. It is really, really dark out there. I probably should have thought about that before starting the Sometimes vlog. Oh, you can see the peaceful Indian village there. The peaceful indigenous American village there. Probably should have thought of that before I started the Sometimes vlog on a darkened boat. So you'll have to forgive the crudity of this vlog. I didn't have time to build it to scale or to paint it. Look at that. Can you see any of that? No, but you can see all the happy faces of the child, the one child on board the boat. Like I said, pretty rainy and gloomy at Disneyland. I came to film some stuff that I cannot film now because it's too dark and gloomy and rainy. So it's suspended for the day, but it doesn't matter because I made it in time to enjoy just enough weather to really, really, really get excited about Mark Twain's birthday. I'm pretty much going to go home and thumb through my, I wouldn't say vast, but bigger than average collection of Mark Twain's letters, notebooks, and novels, travel excursions, quotes. We got a lot of Mark Twain stuff in casa. So I'm going to go check that stuff out when I get home and think about all the wonderful things. Tyler Evans, rock journalist, and I actually visited Mark Twain's birthplace in Florida, Missouri. We never managed to edit that random land. There was never a very good time to edit it, but it will still be coming out. It's just so far down on the list now. But we did visit Mark Twain's boyhood hometown of Hannibal, Missouri, where we got a private behind-the-glass tour of Mark Twain's boyhood home from none other than the museum's director, Mr. Henry Sweets, who led us to the Mark Twain boyhood home. That video is online. We just posted that on Facebook, I think, today. So you can go check that out if you'd like a little more information on Mark Twain and his very violent, traumatic childhood, it turns out. So go check that out. Enjoy that. Sorry to bore you with all these little Mark Twain facts, but I'm very excited about Mark Twain's birthday. I'm very excited to be on board this fantastic, wonderful ship built. This top portion was built on the Disney lot in Burbank by all those set builders, and this bottom portion was built at a shipyard in Long Beach, and they were assembled for the first time here at Disneyland. Can you believe that? Can you imagine if they had tried to set the top of the steamboat onto the hull and it had not fit? That would have been pretty crazy. So a lot of fantastic talent right here, not just in the works of Mark Twain. Okay, sorry for boring you with all my Twain nerdiness. Subscribe subscribe for some more Sometimes vlogs. It'll be less Twain, just somewhat less Mark Twain related. And I will see you guys soon. We're back at the dock. That was the last trip of the Mark Twain for the evening. It's time to wander around Disneyland, take some Instagrams, then go home and watch Kiki's Delivery Service, because I've never watched that before. Can you believe that? I can, because I'm the one who just told you. All right, love ya. Take care. Go home, sleep well.